catching up. We were catching up with
Would you like a good day? What was the only word? What's your name, hon?
Do you remember
Another Dylan. Fabulous. My name's Jackie.
We're doing Shabbat. This one shall be called woman, for from man was she taken. It works, by the way, both in Hebrew and in English. Woman, and in Hebrew, Isha from Ish.
And that is that one should see this blessing not as fixed reality, but as a process of becoming
as a youngster for gymnastics, and he uses these skills quite extensively in his work. So this is a beam, this is a gymnastic beam, and against the background, I don't know how clearly you can see it, there were images projected of bodies that had been, violence had been done to bodies, and one looks at this kind of construction, the Star of David, and one thinks those are Holocaust related.
Say that I would give up my salary, but I wasn't prepared to do that. They said I should resign, and I said I wasn't prepared to do that either. What my answer was, that if I have the sense that we've had a real engagement with the issues, and their conclusion is that they want to remove themselves from the story, I have to say, Dayenu, if I have the sense that what's gone on has been a true educational process for me. However, I would like them to reach the point where the image that Amichai talks about in one of his, I think, great poems called Love of the Land, is an image in which when they look at the whole land, and he describes it as sea, valley, mountain, as they see those elements, that what they're seeing over there has allowed them to say that they feel a deep identification, warts and all. Which brings me to the last word. That word that he uses is love of the land. And for
House here this morning at the session. Just to introduce myself, my name's Kay Andrews, And I work at the University of London as part of a special programme that addresses Holocaust education. Our programme is very much targeted at training teachers across England on effective ways to deliver Holocaust education in their classrooms. So that's kind of where I'm coming from on this. I feel that I have to preface everything that I'm going to say, this is why I'm actually sitting quite close to the door, with the fact that I am in no way, shape or form an expert on teaching about Israel. It doesn't really enter into our programme as such, and this is my 10 minutes is going to be 10 minutes of personal reflection and thought process on this. That's come of 10 years of working in the field of Holocaust education and dealing with British teachers.
What we do is we work directly, it's an Israeli-based, I live in Jerusalem, it's an Israeli-based NGO that works directly with impoverished populations in the developing world. Right now we're working in Nepal and in Haiti to help them on a multi-dimensional level through agriculture, education, youth, sanitation, health, and women's empowerment. So basically, many, many different things at once. And that's part of our mission. The other part of our mission is to provide a Jewish-Israeli platform for young people and also some older people, but really focus on young people who are interested in this, who are deeply interested in this. And as such, I bring groups of mostly Israelis, and as well as some diaspora people. We've had a couple of South Africans even, to Nepal mostly, to work directly with these impoverished populations, as well as receiving, you know, it's also a learning program in which the connection between Judaism and social justice and larger issues of environment and poverty are really explored. And Shabbat is done together part of the time when people aren't in the field, and it's, you know, sort of a total experience. And part of the goal is to kind of heal a split that I think exists among many young people, both Israelis and in the diaspora, in which their identity is sort of a global citizen and wanting to contribute to the world as a whole and to face the great challenges of the 21st century are sometimes cordoned off from their identity as a Jew, and they feel in conflict. Whereas Judaism brings them back into a smaller group, they feel, into, you know, their ethnic identity or their religious identity, which feels closed in. And this is saying, no, you can do both at the same time. You can reach out deeply and you can go deeply into your Jewish identity at the very same time. And in fact, they're a synergy and they can really help each other.
Yeah. And I've lived in Jerusalem for the past 39 years, although as you can hear from my accent, I'm a native of New York. And it's an honor for me to be on this panel this morning, and I certainly agree with a lot of things that have been said, which is why I was pleased to go last. Then I don't have to say those things because they've already been said. The other thing I just want to say is I'm very pleased that we're sitting here and not there, because you look at us, but we get one of the most beautiful views in the world. I want to acknowledge the presence with us this morning of Mr. Avram Kaplan of Cape Town, who together with Limmud was responsible for inviting me to come and to be here with you. And it's been a very exciting, I don't know, 10 days so far, something like that. To address the specific topic, I would prefer not to say teaching Israel in a positive light. I would prefer to say either teaching Israel in a more complex light or in a balanced light. Because I think that while it's true that some criticism of Israel is really just disguised anti-Semitism, some of it is legitimate criticism. And I wouldn't want us to always be going for the positive and ignoring the complexity of the situation.
In fact, the reason it's taking so long is it's a complex subject. And the more I explore it, the more issues need to be gone into, and the more I examine the attacks on Israel, the more I feel I've got to delve into them and deal with them properly.
Just make a pretense. It's for girls. You don't need them because you just got it. They're so neat. Where's Jake? But they fix it. You know what? It's lovely because it's very shapy.
Yeah, it makes